Oh snap, we're live.
Oh snap, we're live. Here we are again, another GYLS momentum session, Saturday, October 4th. And here we are with Omid, who's going to be speaking on creating outstanding relationships. Now, this guy's a youth coach, and I don't even need to tell you, you already know. To get to youth coach, you have to stand out four different times from everyone else. From the ambassadors, you have to stand out to come back as an alumni, stand out again to be a youth leader, and even from the youth leaders, stand out to come back as a youth coach. And so this guy is outstanding. He stands out in pretty much every area of his life. And relationships is definitely an area he can speak to. And so he's going to be leading the session today. As always, in the GYLS Momentum Sessions Facebook group, I'm going to post and pin it to the top. It's going to say ask any questions or comments here. And so if he ever directs you to write something down, you can post it in there. And without further ado, because I know he's got a bunch of stuff to run through, here we go. Here's Omid.
Am I on?
You're on. You're live.
All right, thanks Sergio for that. I really appreciate it. Sergio is one of my closest buddies, and I'm really excited to be doing this. I've been looking forward to it, I guess, all month or however long I've booked in. And I also want to give a shout out to everybody that's on this webinar right now and that will be on soon. Thank you for either getting up early or staying up late. You know, it means a lot to me, and I will be adding value to you guys, which I'm really excited about. So kudos to you guys. And okay, today I'm going to be speaking about how to create outstanding relationships, and I guess kind of how to maintain it as well. And before I begin, for those of you that are not in a relationship and that are in a relationship as well, I want you to understand that the most important relationship you will ever have in your life is a relationship with yourself. And for those of you that were on David Wilson's webinar last week, it was? Yep.
Yeah.
He spoke about the power of self-worth and how important it is to have. And, you know, in relationships, you cannot give what you don't have. So there's this like metaphor. It's like beware of the naked guy coming to give you a shirt. You know, it's like you wouldn't really want to take a shirt from a naked guy or a naked person. And then there's also there's this metaphor with a cup. So there's a cup, and you fill up the cup with whatever you want. Like let's say it would be money, for this case we're gonna go with love. So you're gonna fill up this cup with love, and this cup is gonna just constantly be filled and filled and filled and filled with love, and then eventually it's gonna get to the top and it's gonna start pouring love out. So you have love and you can give love. You cannot give what you do not have, and that's like a really big thing in relationships as well. And a relationship is not a place to go and take, it's a place to go and give. So if you go into a relationship with the intention to take from the other person, you're not really going to go far in the relationship, and it will end really quick. And it won't be fulfilling at all, because it's just some place that you got to go give. And you know, the secret to living is giving, especially in relationships. Let me look back to my notes. Okay, so for those of you that are not in a relationship, I learned this from Tony, and I applied it into my life, and it really works, and I highly recommend this for anybody, is to picture your ideal relationship. You know, what would your ultimate relationship look like? What would it feel like? What would it be like? And what would it sound like? You know, when you get the opportunity or the moment, just grab a sheet of paper and just start writing. Write who your ideal partner would be like, what, you know, the ideal situation would be like, and just kind of get that out there in the universe so that you can manifest it into your life. I did that with my partner, and she did it with me, and it was just like, we looked back on our list, and it was word by word. It was really cool. And, okay. Also, another key point in a relationship, even while you're in the building blocks of the relationship, is to always be yourself. Be yourself in the building blocks of it, be yourself throughout the entire relationship, and just constantly be yourself. That is so important, because who else are you going to be? You know, everyone else is taken. You have to be yourself. And I know you all heard this before from Marlon, so I'm going to start this off with a question. How do you make an acquaintance into a friend? More communication. How do you make a friend into a best friend? More communication. How do you make a best friend into a lifelong friend? More communication. And then that goes to say that communication is the key to unity. And, the quality of your relationship is the quality of your communication. When you have outstanding communication in a relationship, everything is possible. You guys can work everything out, sure there problems will arise and stuff, but then you guys can talk it out and it will just be like a little cockroach under the fridge. And I got this from Tony's Ultimate Relationship Program. This part, it's called the 7 Master Skills of a Relationship. And I'm gonna run it through you and give you some examples of some of them. And also, I know I will kind of like just start talking about other things and I'll go on like a little just spree. I don't know. So bear with me. The first skill is the skill of heartfelt understanding, which is putting yourself in their shoes and filtering throughout your heart because it's love is what your soul is feeling. It's not what your mind is because your mind is full of judgments, and you got to follow your heart in relationships. The second skill is giving what a person really needs. You have to give your partner what they need, and I'm gonna go over the 5 love languages with you guys, which is the first love language is gifts. The second one is acts of service. The third one is physical touch. The fourth one is words of affirmation. And the fifth one is, wait, what was it? Gifts, words of affirmation, touch.
It's what you're giving us all right now.
No, it was one more. It was quality time. Yes, thank you, Sergio.
Ah.
Oh man. All right, quality time. So those are the 5 love languages, and everybody has all 5 of these. However, everybody also has 2 that are really prime. And when you do find that, you'll be able to give your partner exactly what they need. And people will often give love in the way that they want to receive it. So that could be a hint as well. And there's also everyone has their own specific way in which they want to receive love and affection. So some people are really, really strong in audio. Some people are really, really strong in kinesthetic. And some people are really, really strong in visual. So let's say in a relationship, I tell my girlfriend, I'm always telling her I love her, and then she's actually a kinesthetic person. I'm sorry, she's a visual person, and then she comes to me and she's like, you never show me that you love me. And then I'm like, what do you mean? I always tell you that I love you. So right there, it's not an alignment, and so she's not receiving the love because I'm giving her the love in the way that I want to receive it. However, it's not in alignment with how she wants to receive it as well. So in a relationship, that's a huge thing to talk about is what people's love strategies are and what their love languages are in order to be able to give them what they need. Okay. The third skill is creating and building trust and respect. So it's a never-ending process. So you always want to work on a foundation of trust and respect, and just constantly build on it and build on it and build on it. If you were to make a house on sand, it's not gonna. Is it sand? Or all right, sand. It's not gonna be as effective as if you build a house on solid concrete foundation. And that's where your trust and sorry, one second. That's where your trust and respect comes into play. The fourth skill, is to reclaim playfulness, presence, and passion. So, in a relationship, presence is extremely important. And fellas, the ones of you that were on Sergio's webinar, presence is really, really keen. It's so awesome. Presence will absolutely melt any girl. When you have strong enough presence, it will it's awesome. So when your girl or any girl in particular has a tropical storm coming, you are an oak tree and you stay rooted. As an oak tree, nothing can sway you and you're just there firm and you're giving, that person all of your love. And that's exactly what they need. If you absorb it with pure love, everything changes. and then the storm will fade away, and then everything will be awesome. Good stuff. So the fifth skill is harnessing courage and embracing honesty. So always, always, always honest. Be honest in your relationship. Be honest with yourself, because it will come up in your relationship. And just be true. Just be true to yourself. That was quite repetitive, but that's okay. The sixth skill is uncovering and creating alignment, which is having a oneness in the core things that really matter. So like I said earlier, following your heart and communicating with your partner and finding out exactly what they need in order to supply to them. Well, not supply to them, but to give to them. And then the last skill is to live consciously and be the example you want in your partner. So if what you put into the world is what you're going to get out, which is the same thing in relationships. So as much as if you're giving and giving and giving and giving, then you're just going to receive and receive and receive and receive, because your partner is just going to want to give back to you as well. And it's not horse trading. It's not like, oh, I'll only do this for you if you do this for me. It's giving out of the pure intention of love, and that you will do anything for that person. And when you come from a really pure intention, your relationship will be so awesome, just so pure. And a lot of people can vouch for me on that as well. My mouth is really dry. Need some water. Speaking of intentions, a key thing is to never question your partner's intention. And by that I mean, let's say a guy comes home to his woman and he's just not present at all, and the girl, she sees that, and she says to him, she's like, what are you doing? You're not here, you're not giving me any attention. And then they get into an argument, and then the argument ends, and then she could either choose to be really mad at him, or step outside the picture and look at it and be like, okay, he's tired, but yet he really loves me, so he wants to take a break, so he doesn't snap on me, something like that. Or on a guy's end, if a girl has a tropical storm coming, and you can just look at it and be like, she's scared. So you never question the intention that there's love, and that the intention is not to hurt. So it's like, let me give another example. Dishes? Okay, all right, perfect example. Thank you, Rachel. So if for example, I really don't like doing dishes, but Rachel she loves having a clean sink. So she'll come to me and she'll be like, oh, do the dishes, do the dishes, do the dishes. And then, we could get into an argument. However, I don't question her intention. And her intention is not to fight with me over doing the dishes. She loves me and she wants me to be clean, and she wants the best for me. So through her world, and that's a pure intention over there. Okay.
So we've actually got one answer to the question you asked way at the beginning. You asked, describe your ultimate relationship. Write it down, and I posted in the group. Feel free to share if you want. And so Ariana said, a relationship is where I can be myself around my boyfriend. I never have to feel embarrassed or shy around him. We have trust in the relationship and have somewhat similar goals in life and interests.
I love that, Ariana. Thank you for sharing that. That's all achievable through just having really good trust and respect on both ends, and just like communicating. Just in a relationship, that's possible, and I fully believe that that's possible, and it's all done through communicating and being yourself. And when you be yourself and when you're giving, who you authentically are, that's what you're gonna receive as well, and it's a beautiful thing. Woo! All right. So, Another secret to a happy relationship is to know how to satisfy each other's human needs. And I know we all learned about human needs in GYLS. And for those of you that are not from, the Anthony Robbins environment and don't know what the human needs are, there are 6 human needs. It's certainty, variety, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. And I'm going to give you guys some examples on how to meet these needs for your partner. So for certainty, the first one would be to show up for your partner emotionally and to give them love and understanding. The second one is variety or uncertainty. So you could surprise your partner with flowers, random dates, special dates, and anything else that you think that she would or he would especially enjoy. So anything out of the blue just adds variety and like a spice to life. Significance. So something that you can do that can make that person feel absolutely amazing and loved, like compliments, dates, it goes in tune with variety. And with love and connection, perfect way to meet those is just to follow and meet your partner's need of their love languages and their love strategies. Perfect for love and connection. And with contribution, just give. Give, 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 give. That's all. That's what it's all about. It's not about you. It's all about them. Never about you. Once you make it about yourself, you're gonna have a bad time. It's all about them. And going on with my last thing about wait, actually no, I didn't touch on this yet. So in life, we all have a lot of rules, and we all set a lot of rules for our life. So like, I could be like, in order for me to be happy, I have to wake up, have this certain thought, go out and do this certain thing, and then stuff like that. And I really complicate it. And then somebody else could have a rule that's like, I'm happy I'm happy whenever I'm above ground, just like that. And so you want to set rules to win, especially in relationships. At the start of my relationship, I had a lot of unenforceable rules. So a lot of rules that I grew up with, and I set that expectations of my partner or things that I thought should have happened but didn't, and it just caused a bunch of problems in my life and with my relationship. So one could be like, a rule could be like, oh, you have to talk every single day, and sometimes a lot of you could be like that. That's like an easy rule to meet, and some of you could be like, that's a really hard rule to meet. And it's all about setting rules in your relationship so that you can win. Make the game easy for you to win. Like, you don't want to set really hard rules that are just unenforceable and that the other person can't meet, and then they can't give you the love because you feel like you're not receiving it because you have this really strong rule. So, really simple way to change the rule is to become aware of it, and then once you become aware of it, just make the decision to change it, and then commit to it. That's it. Change the rule just like that. And all right, in order to have a passionate relationship, there's a thing called polarity. Polarity is masculine and feminine energy. It's the balance of the masculine and feminine energy. So passion is lost in a relationship when there's an imbalance. So when a female is being either female, male, whatever your sexual preference is, when one of the partners is being extremely feminine, and so is the other partner, there's no polarity there, so there's no passion. It's like, let me come up with an example. Yeah, polarity creates attraction, and without polarity, there's no attraction or passion. And an example of that would be, okay, a man is in his like, all right, so like in ancient times, cavemen, they were the hunters, the females were the gatherers, the males were really feminine. I mean, the males were really masculine and the females were really feminine, and that's just how it was back then. And then now it's like that's still here, but it's not as like oh, we are cavemen, and then females are just like, you know, the females can do like, not being sexist or anything like. There's no sexism here or anything like that. It's just like, let's say a man is doing his thing. He's, mm, damn, I need an example for this.
Just give an example from you and me. Something I was really masculine.
Okay, all right, perfect. Example in my relationship. In my relationship with Rachel, I'm very masculine, and Rachel was trying to match my masculinity as well. So because as when Rachel was growing up, she was craving her dad's love. Like that was the love that she was always craving. In order to get her dad's love, she had to be strong, determined. She couldn't show any emotions, and she had to just be like epitome of like a football man, you know? So it was really masculine, and it's like, when you have batteries, and then the batteries, it's like, in order for a battery to work, you have to have plus on the top, and then on the other one, you have to have minus on the top. It's like if you have both of them flipped to plus, it's not gonna work. There's no attraction. It's just like it's not gonna create anything. So she went on this feminine journey, and she learned to get in touch with her feminine side, and I went on my more masculine side journey, and became more in touch with my masculinity, and now we just have a lot of passion and just fire in our relationship. And if you ever feel like you're losing your attraction, it's not really that you're not attracted to that person, it's polarity. So find out where's the imbalance, and then find a way to fix that imbalance. And yeah, that's all. There's so much more I can go into. It's such an in-depth topic. I don't know. I just don't know how in depth to go into. I was
So
just like,
I have a
so
couple questions for you that maybe you can dive into different areas. And first, actually, we've got some Facebook comments. So I know Jeff said, answering, describe your ultimate relationship. He said, be the person you never thought you could be, but your partner knew you could be. That's awesome. It's all about who you're becoming in the pursuit of it, right? So good
yeah,
job. I've got a question for you, Omid.
I
In
got an
terms of
answer for you, Sergio.
masculinity, in terms of masculinity and femininity, what are some characteristics? How do you, let's say you're a man and you're not being masculine, how do you become more masculine? What are some specific things you can do? And then for girls being feminine or whatever you are, if you want to be feminine, what are some characteristics of femininity? And I'll jump in and help you out a little bit if you want, but
All right.
your
So
take on
from my life and from what I've learned from my journey and everyone I've spoken to, I also heard this from Tony Robbins as well, the big guy. All right. So as like stereotypical as this sounds, if you want to get in touch with your masculinity, guys, go work out, go take like a fighting class, like just watch football, just like soak in just masculinity, like that, and then it really get helps you get in touch with your masculinity. And also, if a girl is having a tropical storm and you're there as an oak tree, that's pure masculinity in like its purest form right there. And sports, just stuff like that, and just I guess, yeah, getting in touch with your masculinity like that. And for females or males, whatever your thing is, just being in the flow. Like guys are more like the way we think is like more like we're like very jagged. It's like that, this, that. It's like we think in like boxes. And then females, you're all like in the flow. So like it doesn't really make sense. It's just flowing and just flow. So like yoga, mm, girl time, shopping, things like that. Just really girly things really helps you get in touch with your femininity. Talking with your girlfriends. Some of you that are in business as well, the way you approach your business. For example, in our society today, like a lot of businesses are ran in a very masculine manner, especially like even when females are in personal development or stuff like that, they run it in a very masculine manner. And I live with Katie Pitsis here in Australia, and she handles her business with pure femininity. So she's just always flowing, and she's like getting in touch with like the divine feminine, you know? And it's just like for those of you that are in business, definitely check out Free Spirit Girl and like see what she does. That's a perfect way to get in touch through business with your femininity. And yeah, so like
Awesome.
Sergio, you got anything?
So I've got a couple more questions because we still have like half an hour, so we can expand significantly on each of the topics that you covered at the beginning, the 7 different things. So maybe we can go one at a time. Just tell me what the thing is, and then I'll frame a question around it on the spot.
Okay.
So
All
what was
right.
the first one?
First skill is heartfelt understanding.
Awesome. So, in terms of heartfelt understanding, how do you practice that on a daily basis? Like, what are some things that you do? What if, let's say, you're having an argument and you think you're right and you don't want to practice heartfelt understanding? You want them to understand, right? What are some things you can do to practice heartfelt understanding? And why is it important to practice? I know I just dumped a bunch of questions on you, so maybe you can
When
speak to that a little bit.
when I was heartfelt understanding, um, I learned this. There's heartfelt understanding when talking to guys for me, and heartfelt understanding when talking to girls, especially girls that have a lot of like that are really important in my life. So when I was growing up, me and my mom would always get into a lot of arguments, and my mom would like if I would say something wrong, my mom would be like, "Okay, that's it, blah blah blah. You can't go to GYLS anymore. You can't," stuff like that. And then I had a conversation with my uncle, and my uncle told me he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "It's better to be happy than right." And like that has always stuck to me in my relationship with my mom, anybody. And I'm like, all right, in this situation, because like I know we all want to be right, so like I always just take a step back and I view the situation, and I'm like, all right, I could completely prove myself right. However, but where would that take me? You know, what is that? What is the person's intention? What is the intention of the argument? Like, what's the purpose? And I kind of just think about it, and then I'll be like, I will either be like, you're right, blah blah blah, because I see both sides of the story, and then I just have a heartfelt understanding for that person.
I have a
And
powerful question before I forget.
what?
So that was really powerful that you said you'd rather be happy than right. What needs, what need are you basically choosing over the other? So what's being right giving you, and what's basically being happy giving you?
Being right is meeting my need of significance,
Yep,
which it's
definitely.
me.
And maybe even certainty, right? Certainty that you're right.
Yeah,
And then what are you choosing over those two when you're choosing to be happy or to be connected with this person over being right?
love and connection.
Yeah, definitely. It's choosing love over significance, right? Or over certainty. So that's an awesome
Yep.
distinction. I've never really thought of that. That's wicked.
Yep, and that's something I practice in my everyday life. Unless I'm like on a really heated argument, and then I'm just like, oh, no heartfelt understanding. But
So here's the question, and that was kind of one of the first questions. How do you do it when you don't want to? How do you get yourself to do it? When, yeah, you're in a heated argument and you just want to be right, you just want to win. How do you get to the place of, okay, wait, I need to choose happiness over being right? How do you
am I
make that
am I in
happen when you don't want to?
am I in an argument with Rachel, or am I in an argument with like somebody else?
It doesn't matter. It's
All right,
across the board. Across the
with
board.
Rach with if it's something that's really so if it's something that's really important to me, or somebody that's really important to me, I would break my pattern by putting my hand over my heart and just breathing, taking a deep breath. And then I'd be like, that'd break my pattern, break everything, and I'd be like, all right, come back to now. Let's give myself, perspective on it. But sometimes I don't know why, but sometimes we just enjoy arguing. No, not me and Rachel. Just like I know a lot of people that just enjoy arguing for fun. I don't know why, but like in that case, you just do it for fun. But
I
usually, what
know
I do
why.
is,
I know why. Want me to tell you why? It's two people that both value significance and competition, and so you're just trying to see who's gonna win.
yeah,
If someone does, if you value significance and someone else values something else, and you're arguing, well, it doesn't matter. It's just an argument, right? So hold on. Jeff just posted something. Let me see what he said. Argument with Rachel. You put argument with Rachel, laugh out loud. But you kind of touched on that, so that's cool. So yeah,
Jeff
when the
Mitchell was,
person's important enough, you basically remember why that person's
yeah,
important, and you remember, right?
yeah, because
Antonia just laughed at you. She's like, ha ha
because
ha.
if I'm all right, so if I'm in an argument with Rachel and we're arguing about who ate the last
Donut.
banana,
Donut. Okay. Oh yeah, true. You guys are all healthy. The last piece of kale. Who ate the last piece of kale?
who ate the last piece of kale, and we're arguing about this, and this argument just goes deeper. It goes beyond the kale, and it goes to like your mom, your dad. This doesn't actually happen. This is just an example. Your mom, your dad, this, and then it's like your ancestors, and it's like the universe, and then it just starts going deeper and deeper, and it's like holy, what is gonna happen? It's like, all right, I could choose to keep arguing about this and prove my point that she ate the last piece of kale, or I could just sit back and be like, all right, I love her. What is her intention? Put my hand over my heart and be like, all right, this is pointless. This is not enriching my relationship in any way, and then end it. Just tell her she's right. I ate the last piece of kale.
Yeah, you value her more than the kale, basically.
Yes.
Okay, so awesome. So that's cool. So it's basically to get to the place of heartfelt understanding, even when you don't want to, you just have to remember what you value, that you value the person more than the argument, basically. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome distinction. I'm glad we
And
went down that road and got to that. That's sweet.
I read this book called Forgive for Good. It's the book that Gary King recommends, and in that book, they go over this heart exercise. It's called heart, whatever. We'll just call it heart exercise. And it's like whenever you're in any situation, whenever you have any thoughts, heart focus. Heart focus is what it's called. I also learned this from Brody Whitney. So whenever you have any thoughts, anything that's like really bringing you down, or if you're in a really heated situation, or if you're freaking out over something, put your hand over your heart and take 3 deep breaths into your heart. So just imagine you're breathing into your heart, and that will just completely just even out the playing field. And especially in relationships, do this, because love over argument all the time.
Love over significance. Awesome. So that was just the first thing. We've got about half an hour, so I'm sure we could expand on each of the 7. So what was the second one? I feel
How long have we been on for?
What? Pardon?
How long have we been on for?
Just half an hour. So
I
what
should've
was the
wrote a lot.
second piece?
Oh, the second one was
Second skill, the second thing.
oh man. It was giving what a person really needs.
Oh, true. That's so important. Okay. Time to frame a question in 2 seconds live. So you spoke about the
Oh,
love languages. Yeah.
oh what? Guys, at the end of this webinar, I will post a link on the pinned post to take the love language test, and it's where you can go find what your and priority of how strong your love languages are,
Oh, that's
so that
awesome.
you can print it out and hand it to your partner and be like, here's my facts, take it.
Here's some facts. Cool. So here's a question for you. And that's awesome that you're going to post that. But what if you have a significant other? How do you come to find out what theirs are without making them take a test? What are some clues you can pick up on to discover someone else's?
All right. So I have two different ways, two different things. The first one is, if you want to elicit somebody's love strategy, have them close their eyes and just tell them it's like a process, whatever you want to come up with, and say, have them close their eyes and then say, think of a time in the past when you felt the most you've loved ever. Was it something that I did for you? Was it something that I said to you? And there's like have like a pause in between each thing so you can see how they react. And then like be like, was it the way I touched you? Was it a certain phrase I said? And then find out what really made them feel loved. And if they say, you know what, this one time you said this thing to me and I just felt like love never before, that is their love strategy right there. And then you'll notice you can experiment as well. You can then start giving to them in their love strategy and then see how they react differently to what you were doing before. It's all a relationship. There's something that Tony Robbins teaches called KANAI, constant and never-ending improvement. That's exactly what a relationship is. Your relationship is either growing or it's dying. Like, it's always experimenting with new things, going to that next level, and just having a blast. It's having a great time while doing it. And for eliciting love languages, finding out what their love language is without them taking a test, is find out how they're giving the love to you. Because people will always give love the way they want to receive it, unless they're like love conscious like me and Sergio or anybody else. and then
That's
jokes. So, for example, if Rachel is constantly making me food all the time, making the bed, doing this, then I know that her love language is acts of service. If she's constantly buying me gifts, even though I don't like gifts, and she's constantly giving me gifts and gifts and gifts, then I know that gifts is also her top one. So, just like that, if you don't want him to take a test.
So
However,
basically finding out what they do for you, because usually people will give in the way that they want to receive, and so you just kind of watch how they give it to you, and then you just basically mirror that, right? Pretty much?
Yep, exactly.
So how about this? How about if yours is not the way that they're giving, how do you align? How do you make them? So let's say your partner is just giving you gifts. They just keep, like, you're a guy or you're a girl, and your boyfriend just keeps buying you necklaces and, like, just buying you stuff. They buy you a car, and your thing is just, like, quality time. You just want to hang out with them, but they're working all the time to have all this money to buy you all this stuff. And there's these gifts, and they think to give you gifts is going to light you up, but all you just want is quality time. How do you get them to give you what you need? That's a complicated. Do you get that?
Yep. Yep. Easy. I have the easiest answer to that. Easy.
Handle.
Easy. All right. All right. Repetition. Okay. The easiest way is communication is the key to unity, and I cannot stress that enough. When you have outstanding communication in your relationship, all is possible. If you can't even communicate with your partner, then that's something you have to improve on. So that's something that you just talk about. You have to establish that communication foundation, and then once it gets to that point, that the girl could be like, "Hey, I don't like necklaces. I want you to make me food." And the guy would be like, "Oh, saves me money. I'm gonna go spend money on video games or whatever he wants to do, and then make her food."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Awesome. We actually got a question from your boy Nick Marino.
Oh, that's my dog. That has been my best friend for the past 10 years.
That's
All right.
my dog. Okay, this is a little bit of a paragraph, so bear with me.
Nick Marino.
Okay, so it's going to be long when he starts with okay, so. All right, so check it. It's like this. Okay, so you mentioned how you should never go. Yo, listen. So you mentioned how you should never go into a relationship to take rather than give. Sometimes I will speak to people who are experiencing challenges in a relationship, and I ask them, "Are you going into it to give or to take?" And they usually respond with both. So what kind of powerful questions can you ask yourself, or ways you can come up with to find out if you're giving or taking? Did you catch that pretty much?
Yeah, I catch it. All right, Nicholas. In relationships, there's something called horse trading. It could be a relationship with a friend, relationship with anybody, especially. So horse trading is when you do it's like I scratch my back and I scratch your back, essentially, just like that. And that's if you realize that you're coming to give and take, you take a step back and you say, hold on, why am I in this relationship? What is my purpose? Am I here to love this person, or am I here, just to take? And if your answer is I just want to take from this person, you're at a different stage of love. So I'm gonna tell you I wrote this down as well. I forgot to bring it up. So there's different stages of love. Let me find it.
Yeah, there's the stage of the baby, like an infant, where they're only taking, right? Then there's like the horse trading, which is you do this, I do that. It's giving and taking, it's both. And then there's that highest level that's just giving for the purpose of giving, right? So you can
Yep.
speak to all three of those. Because I think he's referring to the middle one. It's not just taking. He said they usually respond with both. It's giving and taking. Because you don't just want to give. Then sometimes you may be in a relationship with someone who's only taking, who's at that first stage. And so you're giving, but you're expecting to take. Or maybe you're at the top stage where you're just giving, you're not trying to trade, but this person's only taking, right? Or you're
Yep.
just giving, but they'll only give if they get something back. So you want to
Yep.
make sure you're aligned with
Lots
someone
of
at the
giving and
first
getting.
stage, right?
Yep. So I found it as well. Thank you, Sergio, for that. The
Awesome.
4 levels of love. The first level is the lowest of them all. It's the love of a baby. It's when you're not getting the love that you want and you complain about it and you just cry and you're just not getting it what you want. The second level is horse trading. You love this person only if you get something in return. Oh, 1 second. I completely forgot to. Can you pass my charger, please? Yeah. Okay. Horse trading. You love the person only if they give you something in return, and the love doesn't count. Uh,
Rachel's in.
uh, Sorry about that. 1 second. My laptop will die, and that's not good. Is it plugged into the plug as well? Yes. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Little technical difficulties. I'm here for you. I'm here giving to you all, giving my
Oh my
all.
goodness.
Okay.
It's all good.
The third
Monica, hold
level.
on.
Huh?
Before you continue, I just have to say this. Uh, after Nick Marino, we had a comment from Monica, and you already know what she said. Omid's got the money and the respect.
So check this. Check
Anyways,
this.
continue. Hope that didn't break your pattern too much.
Nope, not at all. The third level of love is to give love because it's what you're made for. It's like this is your center of gravity. So it's when you put your lover in front. It's like you are my number one priority. Your feelings are my feelings. I give whatever you're feeling, I'm feeling. You are my everything. That's the third level of love. The fourth level of love is that Dalai Lama stuff. It's when someone murders your entire family and you love them no matter what. Loving even those that hurt you. That's the fourth and the highest level of love. And that's like Gandhi, Mother Teresa. I mean, I wouldn't love someone that killed my family. That's I'm being honest. I'm authentic. I don't believe that. But yeah. So if you're in a relationship to give and take, that's horse trading. And what was the question again? Can you
I
recite it
actually have an
again?
awesome question before I forget because I have that other one written down so we can come back to that. So you
Okay.
said that it's all your center of gravity, right? Sometimes we can dip into giving and taking. Sometimes we can even dip into the lowest one, which is just taking. How can we raise our center of gravity? And especially up to that level where you love those even who hurt you, because maybe it's not someone who threw you in jail for 20 years like Nelson Mandela, who still loved those people after, or like Mother Teresa or Gandhi or Jesus or Buddha or whatever. There's tons of people, and the people at whose center of gravity is at that highest level are like worldwide famous people who transcend time. Like if your center of gravity is at that level, you're on Jesus, Mother Teresa, Gandhi's level, right? But so the question is, how can we raise our center of gravity, maybe just a tiny bit, to dip into that fourth level where maybe someone did something, maybe didn't kill your whole family or threw you in jail for 20 years, but maybe just insulted you or maybe cut you off while you were driving and you still send them love or something. Like little acts that maybe hurt you. How can we raise our center of gravity just
Perfect.
a little bit to dip into
All right.
that?
I learned this groundbreaking, I'm sorry, game-changing, um, just technique at GYLS. It's called repo. So it goes repetition, easy, easy, pleasure, pleasure, often, often, habit. Oh wait, it was habit. Wait, what? Oh my God, I forgot the H. Guys, don't tell Marlon.
Oh
Oh, it
my
was
god.
habit, habit. Yep, habit, habit. So, uh, in order in order to like raise your awareness, you have to practice love, become love. So I know you guys. I know David Wilson spoke about affirmations and incantations. Say I am love. I am giving love. I am love. And then practice giving love. If you're driving and someone cuts you off, say I love you. Thank you for that. If you're in a line, someone's being mean to you, and like the grocery store, be like I love you, and just practice giving love, and eventually your love will you just start loving people for people, and you start understanding that people have stuff that goes on with them, and everybody does something to meet a certain human need, and you just love that person for them, and then you're just loving and loving and loving. And the more you practice love, the easier it will be. When something is so easy, it'll be so pleasurable that you want to do it often, and when you do something often, you want to do it, it becomes a habit. That's my answer to you, Sergio.
We can go back to Nick Marino's question, because I kind of threw that one at you in between. But so basically, his question was something along the lines of, what powerful questions can you ask yourself or ways to come up with to find out if you're giving or taking? Which is along the lines of even a step further. How do you go from giving to taking to just giving, or to even giving those that hurt you? So I think you might have already answered that. Nick, if you want to repost a question or a different one, maybe we can get different answers. So we've got about 15 minutes. I'm sure we could run through at least a couple more. So what was the third point? That was just the second one, I think. We kind of just went off on a little tangent, but it was awesome. We got some value out of that for sure. I'm sure the people.
All right. Third skill is creating and building trust and respect.
Okay, that's cool.
So
how do you? Pardon? Do we have?
Oh wait, no.
Let me check this out. No, I think we're good for now. Still.
I have this. All right.
Just go through all of them because we're not gonna have time to expand on every single one. So I'm gonna pick the one that I want to expand on.
I'm gonna write this down last time. It's the building. This is from Tony's Love and Relationship Program. It's 5 stages to building trust and building on the other, on your foundation. The first one is to commit and declare that you will start building trust. So like usually something happens in a relationship where you lose trust or something. Or just even if it's at the beginning, you got to commit and declare to start to build trust. And then the second step is to create heartfelt emotion, for that person. And then the third one is to share. It's like share by communicating with your partner what you're feeling, what you're thinking. Listen and learn. Learn from what they have to say as well. The fourth one is to align yourself with them and to create a vision. Create a vision for something bigger than the now, like in the future, and just like give yourself something to like go towards, to work towards, because without visions, people perish. And then the last step into building trust is having an act of love, which is just love, like I love you for you, and I'm
just
here.
Love.
Just love. I can't really explain that.
Just love. That's it. Just love. So we've got about 10 minutes. Nick didn't repost his question, so I guess you probably handled it already.
Yep.
And I don't think we have any more questions. Some people are just going off on random tangents on that. It's kind of funny. You can check it out after the webinar.
All right. Also, sorry about not having a lot of material. I have so much material to talk about. I just didn't know how in depth I could go, and what I would be touching upon. And I thought I was only going for 30 minutes and 30 minutes of questions. So I think that's actually what's happening right now. 30 minutes of questions.
Well, yeah, I'm just kind of like interviewing you almost. It doesn't have to end in 10 minutes. If you want to keep going, like when people are over watching you, they'll leave, but the recording will be there for everyone to watch. You can go an hour and a half if you have that much stuff that you want to just add value to people. So, real quick, we went through two, right? Or no, the third one was trust.
Right.
I don't know if we touched on that.
Yep.
So,
the fourth one is reclaiming your playfulness, presence, and passion in your relationship.
That one sounds like fun. In terms of playfulness, passion, and fun, you touched a little bit on passion and how to have that by polarity, masculine and femininity. Can you speak on presence a little bit? And I know I ran a webinar on that, and I think it was pretty good. So if you want to watch an hour and a bit on presence, you can go watch that. But maybe you can give us specifically in terms of intimate relationships, how can you be present? How do you show up more present and more playful and even more
All right.
passionate?
All right. Playful, definitely polarity. I'm in my masculine. Rachel's in her feminine. We don't match. We don't mix match and stuff. And if we do happen to do that, passion's gone for that moment. But we have the tools and we shift it. We find out what's going on and we're like, all right, we need to do this, blah blah blah, and then we're back. Um, Presence. Whenever she has her storms, which happen quite frequently. Uh,
She's gonna
I
smack
just
you. Rachel, smack him, please. I don't know if you can hear me. Can she? Tell her right
no,
now.
actually can't hear you. All right,
What?
well, no, I'm kidding. But what I do is, I'm like, all right, I'm here for you, and then I tell myself I am an oak tree and I cannot be swayed by the winds, and I just sit there and I just listen. I have nothing else in my mind. I just listen. I don't try to correct her problems. I don't try to give her solutions. I do on some parts, but sometimes I just let her talk, and I just let her talk, 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 and then I'm just there, and then that's all she needs is just a figure like an oak tree that she could just like unleash her storm on. Just being there. I there's you can tell when you're talking to somebody and they're not there, and when they are there, and you just have to be there. And I have a really funny video. Um, I could show you guys on. I don't know if I should show you guys on this one, or I could just post it on the
I
page
would
as
just
well.
share it after.
Yeah, it's called It's Not About the Nail. A team leader a while ago showed me it. His name was Michael Savage, and it's really funny. I'll show it to you guys. It's how to be It's like it's an example of a guy not being present when his woman is having a storm. So it's basically don't do what he's doing. All right. Yep.
So we've got a comment. Ariana said, please continue this if you can. So even if for one person you're adding value, it's worth it. And so if people, obviously, you guys have things you have to do, you can't be glued here for hours, but it will be recorded. So if you have to leave for any reason, you can re-watch the rest of it after. But I'm down to continue if you're in, because you have so much stuff that you can add. We can expand on those 7 things for hours, but maybe like if you want, we can aim for maybe an extra half an hour, hour and a half, because one or
We'll
two of
see.
the sessions have gone that long. I know Anthony's was interesting and it went that long, so we can keep it going. So which one are we on? 3 or 4?
We're on 5.
We're on 5? Yeah, true. Because we did trust, we did presence, and okay. So what's 5? We only got 3 more. That's not that bad. So what's number 5?
Harnessing courage and embracing honesty.
Ooh, that's powerful. So, how do I frame a question around that? So maybe you can speak on what is courage exactly. Is it the absence of fear? Is it getting rid of your fear? Or is it feeling the fear and do it anyway? And in
Courage.
what situations would you need to be courageous in a relationship? It doesn't seem like something where you would have to be
Oh,
brave or courageous. Oh,
buddy,
oh.
buddy. All
And
right.
then, okay, well, we'll do that and then we'll do honesty after.
I'm sure for a lot of you that have been in relationships right before, or that are currently in one, know that when your partner does something that really like is that you really don't want them, whatever, something that you just start to get mad at them, or you start to resent them, or something of that sort. It's hard to bring it up and communicate with your partner about that. It's like it's something that it's like a really juicy, salty thing, but you have to bring it up, or else it could mean the end of your relationship. And that itself, you need the courage in order to bring that up and communicate, and just be as true as honest as you can with your partner about it. And that's where harnessing your courage and honesty comes into play. It's just like talk. It's not being afraid, because your relationship is like a bubble. It's like this is your world right here with your relationship, and it's like it's a world inside of like your world. and like this world is just like a safe spot. It's like a haven. It's nirvana. It's all those awesome things. So it should be a really safe spot. And if something happens that is like creating like a static electricity in there, that's like not bueno. Bueno is good in Spanish. Um, that's something that you have to harness your courage in order to tackle that situation or that problem. Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, and this is kind of off topic as well. But I recently learned. I used to call my problems challenges, and then I recently reframed that to start calling it problems because problems always have a solution, and I decided to reframe it to only give myself challenges that I want to grow from that life. So like challenges that I want. So like if I want a challenge of seeing how far I can push my body, that's a challenge. So that's just off topic, but yeah.
And even more off topic, you can also reframe it to opportunity. A challenge or a problem is just an opportunity to grow. That's just a little frame on that. Now we have two posts. One of them is kind of long, and I don't know if it's a question or not. Maybe it looks like a couple, but David went first, so I'll shout out David. He said, I love the shout-outs, by the way, because I know you shouted out David Wilson. David, your session was awesome last time. Thank you for doing that, and you're amazing.
Yeah, David, I want you to learn how to storytell.
Yeah, the best storyteller ever. He said, what are some rituals that you have so that every day you're able to perform at the best level possible in your relationship? So what are some things you do on a consistent basis to keep you at that level of an outstanding relationship and you don't let it drop to just a great one or a good one or an okay one?
My daily rituals. Daily intimacy, always hugging, always kissing, always like I'm just daily intimacy and always saying always showing my love. Like if I'm not in the mood at all, I will always find a way to show my love. Like at least once a day. But it's always like 20 times a day, but always finding a way to show love. That's like I cannot go to bed unless I show love. It's just one of my things.
That's an awesome rule. That's a powerful rule to have in a relationship.
Yeah, like I have to show her I love. One way I love her, and it's funny because I made a promise, like I made a commitment to myself at the beginning of our relationship. I committed to myself. I said, I will make her feel like she is the most important person in the entire world at least once every single day, and that's my ritual. So I follow that every single day, and
that's amazing. That's so powerful. You make her feel like she's imagine having someone making you feel like you're the most important person.
So that is a very powerful ritual that I adopted myself from who did I adopt it from? I don't remember. Somebody.
David Wilson. Sounds like something you would do. So we have a nice long meaty paragraph from Nick. Again. Okay, so started.
So it's like this. So check it out. It's like this.
Okay, bear with me. This is long. Kind of. It looks like kind of long. I have written down the ideal relationship I am committed to attaining. I also set high standards for myself. But, use the word but. But what if you meet someone who you're physically attracted to but they, what? And but. I think he's messing with us. Let me start again. I also set high standards for myself. But what if you meet someone who you're physically attracted to but they don't match your criteria because you had a few conversations with them and you feel like they don't match what you wrote down? So I guess my question is, do you hold off until you find that special someone, or do you go out and feast on the aquarium of fish until eventually you find the chosen one? And another question within that question is, what if you want to be in a relationship with someone but you don't know or you don't want it to be permanent? You are physically attracted and you want to be in a relationship for the purpose of play and fun and variety, I guess. So I don't know if you need me to paraphrase that for you, or
I got that.
I got
that. I know exactly what you're saying. All right, Dadesh. Number one, the it's perfectly all right to go in a relationship. Like, dude, a relationship is not about settling down. Like, you can that's a decision that you can make. It's perfectly fine if you know someone's in college and two people mutually agree to just have a relationship for fun. Then you know that touches on what I said earlier, which is just communication. You have that strong foundation of communication. You can create that with your partner and be like, all right, you know, this is just for fun. We know this is not going to last. Blah blah blah. And you can talk about it like that. And dude, if there's something that's called lust and there's something called love. If you're just physically attracted to somebody and you think that they are just like, if you had a conversation with somebody and you face palmed the entire time you were speaking to them, but yet you are really physically attracted to them, chances are that's only lust. And you know, lust doesn't last because you can have lust and stuff, but like people grow old and they lose, you know, their beauty and stuff. I mean, sometimes. All right, that was really bad. I mean, the people, some people they don't keep what they look like, you know, years from now. They look different. They could look better. They could look worse. Doesn't matter. Everyone's beautiful though.
Everyone's beautiful. It's true. And if you watch Emily's session on inner beauty, it's not even about the outer beauty. It's all about inner beauty.
Yep.
So I guess his question is maybe framed another way. Well, actually, I have a question around that question. If you find yourself with high standards, but you don't meet someone who matches those, is it okay to settle for someone not long term as opposed to waiting for the person? I can actually speak to that. You've had the camera the whole time, switching it to me. So,
Oh, my significance.
oh no, I'm taking your significance. I'm sorry. So for the longest time, for something like 5 years, I've been single for the reason that I've set my standards really high. And so I don't drink, I don't smoke, and that cuts out a massive amount of girls my age. And so it's okay to wait for the person that is basically at your level, but then not and but you don't I made the distinction recently that you don't want to make the game too hard to win, right? Omid was talking about rules earlier, and so I had my rules too hard. It was almost impossible to beat the game. Like, you know, Super Mario on the first Nintendo, where it was literally impossible to beat some of those levels. You don't want to make the game too hard that it's not possible for anyone to get in. You want to have your musts and your shoulds. And so when you look at your list, because I think you said something maybe about your list, they don't match what you wrote down. So what you wrote down may be a list of 100 things, and maybe only 10 of them are absolute deal-breaking musts, where if even one of these is missing, it's done. And then some of them are shoulds, where it's like, okay, it's not the end of the world. Maybe she should be a brunette, but if she's blonde, it's not a deal breaker. And then there's even beyond that nice to have, where okay, whatever, it's a nice addition, but it's not, again, it's not a deal breaker. It's not even worth mentioning, right? So maybe your list is just too hard to meet, right? Which is what mine was for a long time. It was really difficult it was difficult to pass the first interview to get a second interview, basically. So maybe what you want to do is reevaluate your list. At the top, put a little star beside, and in order of the most important ones, maybe choose 10. And if you have 20 or 30 musts, maybe your rules for that are too strong. So I would say maybe 10 musts, absolute musts, and then maybe you'll realize that you've been denying some girls that maybe meet those 10, and a whole bunch of the things they don't have are shoulds or nice to haves, right? So that's my little take on Nick's story, and here you can have your significance back. It's back to you. You're live on YouTube. I think we have more comments, actually. Oh, geez, these people have been going off. Jeff said I'm a camera hog. I'm sorry, Jeff. I just had to get that out real quick. Let me see.
Hold up, wait. I just have one thing for Nick. All right.
Okay.
This is so your choice in the woman you want to stay with and woman you want to be with, all that stuff is. I have the perfect example for you. Would you rather would you rather settle for acting or would you rather settle for working in a cubicle? You decide on that one. All right, Sergio, what's up? What's the next one?
All right, so they've been going off. I need my assistant to help me manage Facebook. This is hectic. I start talking and then I disappear and there's 20 posts. So I'm kind of trying to read through them, see which ones I should say. I'm just gonna say them all. Ariana said, "Wow, Sergio was right when Nick starts off with, okay, so it's long," and then Nick says that was on purpose. Jeff actually said something of substance. He said, "Courage, challenge to contribute, give beyond yourself." Awesome. Let me see. And then Jeff called me a camera hog, and that's okay. And then he said, "Love you, brother." So it's all good. Okay, Sophie's got a question, and maybe two questions actually. So she said, "What about when you're in a relationship and you feel like your standards have changed from when you originally got in it, and perhaps that person doesn't meet the standards you have now?" That's a powerful question.
Oh man, okay.
Oh man, handle that.
All right, Sophie. This is my favorite thing on relationships. I came up with this myself. I feel like I did. I know I didn't, but it came to me one day in the shower, and it was awesome. All right, so I'm gonna share this with you. In a relationship, you start off like this, right? This is you. This is the person, or vice versa, whatever. Doesn't matter. And you guys are growing together, and then it gets to the point where you guys start growing in separate ways. And you can either do one of two options. You can either continue growing in separate ways, or you can find something to grow together with and then kind of go like that and then back this way and then continue growing up and then repeat the process. And I think that's awesome. So probably that's just something I wanted to share with you as well. That could be it. Also, what I'm saying is a lot easier said than done. Definitely bring that up with your partner because they don't deserve to be living in the dark. And so bring it up, say, hey, my standards have changed, blah, blah, blah. And then whatever he has to say about it, you guys can work out a deal. No deals. I mean, you guys could work on your foundation and just constantly build on it. And then, if all else fails and you guys are like literally not destined to be together, then become best friends and just go your separate ways. But that being said, that's a lot easier said than done. It's quite the process to go through. There's a lot of things to experiment, try out, and stuff before that. My go is just communicate with him about that because the person that you are. All right, so at the start of your relationship, you will not be the same person in 5 years. You will not be the same person in 10 years. So you're going to constantly be going through a lot of growth, a lot of change, values changing, beliefs changing. You'll be changing as a person. You'll be growing, and so will your other person. But so will the other person. And something that I've learned is that constantly fall in love with the new person. Like Rachel has came through the biggest change I have ever seen in someone in my entire life, beside Nicholas. And I just constantly fall in love with her every single day. And just the new person that she's becoming.
Aww. Rachel. That's another awesome ritual that you have, actually, which you didn't really say specifically at the beginning, but that's awesome.
Yeah, constantly fall in love with the person that your partner's becoming. Because you fell in love. So I fell in love with Rachel for Rachel. And she's going to change, and she's going to change, I'm going to change. And we're going to enjoy. A relationship is a journey. That's exactly what it is. It's not a destination. There's no ultimate relationship. It's just a journey. It will constantly be growing. Who knows what will happen? The best you can do is give it your best. That's all you can do is show up and give it your absolute best. And if you feel like you are giving it your best, ask yourself if you really are giving it your best. And that's my answer.
Boom, handled. All right.
Handled.
We've got another one. From
Sophie, I hope that answered your question, and you could, if you have any questions, just feel free to message me on Facebook. And yeah.
Okay, so again from Nick, isn't physical attraction the first thing you notice in a relationship? when you see someone, the first thing you see is their physical body. So that's what first spikes your interest. If this is true, then how do you know when it's lust or love? Because I know both you and Rachel are physically and emotionally and spiritually attracted to one another. So,
Perfect question. First of all, Nick, yes, physical is definitely the first thing that you see. So it's what. All right, it's like this. It's what when you're lighting a gas stove, you have to press this ignition thing, and then you have to slowly turn the knob until it catches flame. So when you see the lust, when you see the person, and you become attracted to that person, that's you hitting the ignition thing. So the gas is sparking, but there's no flame yet. And having a conversation with them, that's when you know it's like, okay, um, if I were the perfect example, Nicholas, this beautiful girl were to walk by and you're so attracted to her, you were to have a conversation with her and she just absolutely hated acting, she hated actors, she hated anime, video games, she thinks Halo's stupid, she doesn't like One Piece, she thinks Naruto is horrible. You
oh
know,
my gosh.
your attraction for her will change because I know you've noticed this before. I know everybody in the Skype call has noticed this before. But people become a lot more beautiful the more you get to know them. They just like if if you think someone is absolutely gorgeous and then you meet them and they have a really ugly personality to you, then they'll just start shifting and shaping into something that you won't be attracted to anymore. So that's my question to you. But yes, the fact of the matter is there's no doubt that the first thing that does spark is physical attraction.
So,
Because
there. Continue. Just another question. Maybe you can lead into this one while you continue. Hopefully, I didn't cut you off and throw you off.
nope.
So that's what I need to distinguish between when you see someone and you're physically attracted to them on sight. Is it lust or love, or is love only when you feel connected, body, mind, and soul? So maybe you can like dip into that, and then Sophie's got another
Wait.
question.
Say that again. Say that
Did I
again.
do that too fast? I feel like I probably did.
Yeah.
So that's what I need to distinguish between when you see someone and you're physically attracted to them, is it lust or love? Or is love only when you feel connected body, mind, and spirit?
I cannot tell you that love is only that because love is whatever you make love out to be. Love
Oh,
has love has many definitions. My definition of love is completely different than Rachel's, than yours, than Sergio's. Completely different things. But then again, it's okay to have lust, dude. Like, it's okay to have lust. You know, it depends. Like, are you looking for a relationship? Are you looking for someone to have fun with? Are you looking for friends with benefit? Are you looking for whatever you're looking for, dude? It depends on what your intention is. What's your outcome? Whatever meets your outcome. So, for example, if you want a thriving relationship that is filled with passion and love, then if somebody hates everything you love, dude, like that you're passionate about, that's not somebody, in my opinion, that's not somebody that you'd want to go into a relationship with. However, if your outcome is to have fun, then you don't care about that, you know? But then if your outcome is to have fun and have a little emotional spark with each other, then you know your actions could change. So, what your outcome is depends on what path you take.
nice,
I
nice.
hope I answered that.
Yeah, I think you did. This is awesome. I should totally just interview all the people doing these because we get to some crazy distinctions when we do this. So all your questions
I
are
had
amazing, guys. This is awesome.
I
Ariana
had the
said, Nick, your question's on point. What were you gonna say?
I had the honor. I was at a youth leadership seminar in July, at the beginning of July, before I went to GYLS, called Magic Moments, and I had the opportunity to speak on stage with Marlon about relationships to all of the girls and guys. So that's why I feel like I'm knowledgeable in this. I love it. It's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, you're doing
Yeah.
an amazing job. Jeff said, I love the gas stove analogy. Huge distinction. So we've actually got a question, like 4 or 5 comments up from Sophie again. Going back to the giving, how do you help your partner get all these tools that we have, but they've never had, so they don't know how to apply them? So basically, maybe reframed, how do you get your partner up to your level or something?
Um, so this will be meeting their need of growth. So the first thing you'd want to do is, this is my opinion. First, communication is the key to unity. If you can't communicate with your partner, your relationship will fail. So you must build on communication. Essential key. I think it is the most important part of a relationship is communication. There's everything else that's important, but if your communication is lacking, then you can't really talk about anything. So bring that up, and then you yourself, you can teach him everything. Teach it, because I mean, if he does love you, he will be open to learn, because that will be something that you and him can both grow on. So you both will be growing on the same. So if you guys are like here right now, teaching him this, and you guys going over this and experimenting with each other's love languages and strategies will put you back like here, and then that will just continue. So definitely just communicate, communicate, communicate. And if you feel like you're scared to bring it up, that's when harnessing your courage and honesty comes into play.
Awesome. Don't know if we have any more questions as of right now, but I have a question for you that's reframing Sophie's question. So she spoke on what if you're in a relationship and your standards have changed. Basically, you spoke to how if you raised your standards, what if you're in a relationship and they start out high and the other person lowers their standard? What do you do? Do you end it? Do you try and help them? What are some things you can do?
What do you mean lowers your standard? Like in life, or like what
Whatever,
exactly?
in however you interpret that.
Because I know some people that break up with their significant other because they just certainly became unmotivated in life, and they just sit there and do absolutely nothing, and that really turns them off because they're in personal development and stuff. So I don't know if you mean like that, but I can't really give. There's no universal answer I can give to that because every couple is different. Just like no two snowflakes are the same. So um, my answer to you, Sergio, is just give your best, give everything you can. You know, you can never control anybody else. The only person you can control in life is yourself. You can influence
Oh,
other people. You can influence other people very easily if you're Tony Robbins or anybody. You can influence people, but you cannot control their actions. So you can only control your actions and what you do and how you show up and what you give to them. If they refuse to change and anything like that, and your relationship is just going down, then I mean, it's your call to make. I have an analogy. If you put
of
a
course you do.
frog up,
Your analogies
if
are awesome.
this is this is an analogy for abusive relationships, whether it be mentally, physically, spiritually. For those of you that enjoy that, if you have a boiling pot of water, if you were to stick a frog in there, the frog would immediately jump out. However, if you were to put the frog in the pot of water when it's cool and then slowly raise the temperature to boiling, the frog will stay there until it dies. And that is exactly how it is with abusive relationships. You wouldn't jump into a relationship with something that you know would be abusive. However, if you have like a certain period of time, like 2 years, let's say, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world, and the person's completely going down, and it's really hurting your relationship life, which is hurting your finances, which is hurting your time, then chances are you're not like you gotta get to that point, that like little that root cause, and you gotta handle that situation. Because if not, then it's going to be like abusive in your life. It's going to be like emotionally, mentally draining. So that's like with the frog as well. So
Nice.
it's up to you to then harness your courage and honesty and tackle that situation.
Awesome, man. So it's 11:20 over here. It's 1:20 in the morning over there, isn't it, in Australia? It's 1:20 a.m.
That's all
That's
right.
intense.
I'm still so energized and ready to
Oh,
answer so many questions.
fire, man. You're on fire. So I say maybe, unless you guys can vote if you want to stay on longer than 10 minutes, but this poor guy's going to go till 2, 3 in the morning with all your.
I don't care. Hey, I don't work tomorrow. That's fine.
So let's aim for maybe 10 more minutes. So if you guys have questions, get them in right now. I know you guys have been drilling with questions, which is awesome. And if you have
For,
any
for,
last
for those
pieces of
for
content,
those of you that are on the call and haven't really spoke up, feel free to ask questions now about anything, either a future relationship that you want to get into, somebody that you like, um, uh, a current relationship you're in, I don't know, something like that. Feel free
so
to just ask questions.
we've got a couple comments. Actually, I already read that, but whatever. And Ariana said, Nick, your questions are on point. That's awesome. Maybe you got one more. Um, Nick said, you've answered all my questions, Senpai. Much wisdom, very turquoise, such wow. Sophie and Rachel said, oh my god, I love the frog. The frog is the best. Nick said, not a frog, it's Gamba Bunta. Gamba Bunta. And so, I have a question for you while other people think of their last final questions.
Yes.
Maybe this can be the session that pushes 2 hours. I don't know. Who knows? If you guys just keep your questions flowing, like this is the time to ask the ultimate relationship expert. Because trust me, if you follow this guy on Instagram, like that twin flame hashtag is real. It's official. And so trust me, the way you model people, or the way you get results and have success, is to model people who are doing what you want. And so look at this guy's smile. Is Rachel hearing? Can Rachel hear what I'm saying right now? I think she can.
No,
She's
she
been
can't. No,
commenting.
she's not on. She's not on the webinar. But actually, are you on the webinar?
No.
She's commenting and stuff. How does she even know?
She's just listening to whatever I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Well, Rachel, you should rewatch it. It's actually good. I'm shouting you out a lot. But so yeah, the way to have success, one of the best ways is to model someone who is successful in the area that you want. And so this guy right here is, trust me, he's successful in relationships. He knows what he's talking about. Because he lives it every day. And so, ooh, do we have 2 questions? I think we do. Kai Wei, oh my goodness, Kai Wei. I think in a relationship, we always have to have a giving and taking thinking. By doing so, the relationship will last longer. This will be ideal relationship, I guess. By the way, shout out to you, Omid. So she said, I think it's good to have giving and taking. And so maybe you can speak to, if you're just giving and the other person isn't giving, which is basically you feel like you're receiving or taking, you're kind of a martyr, right? So maybe you can speak to a relationship that's you just giving and the other person is just taking without receiving, or they're only giving when you give instead of the other person just giving, right? I think maybe
All right. So
like
if they're giving only when you're giving, that's horse trading on their part. And like I said earlier, you cannot control what their actions are or anything. That the most you can do at that point, if you're just giving and giving and giving, and they're not giving at all, and they're just taking and taking, and they're not showing up emotionally in the relationship, they're just not there. They're only taking it. Then that is not a fulfilling relationship. That's not a passionate relationship. Chances are there's not strong love on both ends, only on one end, and that is something that again comes down. Everything always comes down. There's a pattern here. Everything always comes down to your communication. So that's the point where you gotta be like, hey, why I'm giving everything to you. I'm blah blah blah, and you're not showing up. What's up? What's wrong? Let's talk about it. Let's get it out of the way. And then if that person truly loves you, then you guys will come up with a strategy to work on. Or if they're not, they're like, hey, listen, this happened, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But then again, if you're always giving and then you have an expectation on what you should be receiving as well, then it's going to kind of alter the way that you give to your partner, and then your partner will notice that and be like, oh, he's not giving to me as much as before. So they will either give to you more to chase you so that you can give to them, or they're just going to stop giving. They're going to stop giving in general. Because if you're in a relationship and you're just sitting there like, oh, they're not giving anything to me, they're not giving enough to me, I'm not taking enough, and then you'll just start like, okay, then I shouldn't be giving them to them that much, and then then that's when you have problems and issues come up.
yeah, definitely. And you need to give because it's who you are, not because the other person deserves it or because they gave to you, right?
Yeah, it's not an obligation. You do it because you want to. You do it because You do it because you want to, not because you need to. If you feel like you need to, then you need to have a conversation with your partner.
Yeah, definitely. So Sophie's got a kind of a two-part question.
Ready?
And Rachel kind of ready. All right, you ready to handle it? Okay,
Yes.
so what about when you find yourself in these tough situations where it does become difficult to distinguish, okay, this is treatment, okay, or do I deserve better? Is this temporary, or do I jump and run or work towards improving it, hoping to make it better? And then Rachel, the amazing Rachel, said, Sophie, your intuition is your compass. If it's not a hell yeah, then it's a no. And then Sophie said back to that, basically speaking on a roller coaster relationship where the highs are high and the lows are low, and every once in a while it's steady ground, but for the most part it's a roller coaster. How do you build off that? And then to just because you can speak to this, Rachel said, if you think you deserve better, guess what? You do, mate. Oh my God, she's Australian now.
All right, so I don't fully agree with the hell yeah thing.
Parts of that. What do you do with the roller coaster relationship, basically?
All right. Number one is I don't fully agree with the hell yeah thing because sometimes your hell yeah could turn into a yeah, and then you have to build up on that back to a hell yeah or whatever your scale is or that you're measuring on. For roller coaster, life is a roller coaster. You have your ups, your downs, and stuff like that, but you can't really. The only person you can talk to in life like that can help you essentially is yourself. Not saying to be selfish and stuff, but like well, whatever. This is not the point. In relationships, though. You have your highs, it's awesome, and you have your lows. You got to communicate. It sounds to me like you don't have like a really good communication foundation, which is something that you have to build on, either slowly, fast, whatever you want to approach it. You know your partner best. The get up and run. I don't fully recommend that unless you've tried everything, and you know when you've tried everything because like some people say they tried everything when they've only tried like 3 things. So, communicate. Like if you feel like you deserve better, that's when you have to be like, you have to get into peak state. You gotta, just be like, I'm doing this for love. This is for love, and then approach be like, hey, I feel like I deserve better. Stuff like that. You follow your heart. Your mind is clouded with judgment. Your heart is the only pure thing. So if you know in your heart that it's the right thing to do is to communicate with him. And be like, hey, this is what's going on. How can we fix this? Or how can we connive this, whatever? Then you know what to do. However, if you're like in here the whole time, you're not really going to go anywhere. It's like when you're I've learned this. I've spoken to many speakers in my life because like it's what I want to do. It's my passion, and they all tell me the same thing. They all say, get out of your head and come from your heart. Because when you're in your head, you're here, and then you're going to start freaking out and stuff. But when you're out in the audience, you're in your heart because you're just giving. So it's just something that you got to communicate from your heart.
Awesome, man. Let me see. I don't think we have any more questions as of right now. So if you guys have any, now is the time. It's 1:30 in the morning for Omid, and he's just here.
No, that's fine. I was going to watch a movie after this either way.
Oh my gosh, you're intense. Let me see. Is there anything we didn't? Okay, what skill were we on? I think we were on 5 or 6, right?
Oh.
we won.
Yeah, we were on 5. All right, the 6th skill is uncovering and creating alignment.
Ooh,
which
that's
is
important.
having a oneness in the core things that really matter.
Okay. And what kind of core things would really matter? Like, what does that mean?
Being in alignment is just you're in there to give. You're in there for love. It's for the things that are greater than you.
And we've talked about that, right? Like, it's alignment is that you're both giving. It's not that one's giving and taking, or that one's just taking. That you're both in the same place. If you're both just taking, like that's kind of hectic. But if you're both in there to horse trade, at least you're aligned, right? But ideally, you want to both be there to give, right? Does Nick have a question? Maybe. Okay. This is actually Nick speaking to Sophie. This guy should get on the webinar. He's like coaching. Nick said, Sophie, if you have trouble with communication, then remember what Omid said about visual, kinesthetic, and auditory learners. Find out what your partner's representational system is and communicate to them through that. Yeah, it's awesome. And so you've spoken a lot about communication. And so here, maybe we can end on this unless we get some more powerful questions. Now's
We
the
got one
time.
more skill also.
So, in terms of communication, because you've spoken so much about it and emphasized so much about communication, what are some specific things that we can do to enhance our communication? Maybe some of us are like, okay, yeah, I need to communicate more. How? How do I do it? What do I have to do to have outstanding communication?
All right. So so check it out. It's like this.
All right, all right, all
Um,
right.
you get the paper and the pen, and you write. You write whatever needs to be said. Um, Back before me and Rachel were dating, she was in a relationship, and this is when we were best friends, and Rachel had really bad communication skills. So, with her partner, stop, don't laugh. And so I told her, I was like,
You've improved on hers, right?
how do you express yourself? She said, I express myself through writing. And I said, then write everything that you have to say. So she wrote like 20 pages for this poor guy, and she just wrote. So she just wrote everything and wrote, and she like read it to him. And that's how you can build, is practicing. So find out how you express yourself. I love talking, so I can talk as much as I want because it's my profession, and that's how I express myself, is through talking. Some people express themselves through poetry, through scripts, through just writing stories, whatever. Find a way that you can truly and easily flow and express yourself, and just practice that thing, and then then practice coming out of your mouth. Either communicate with your mom, about something, mom, dad, friend. It's easier because there's two types of communication. You can communicate about like just like me talking to Sergio like as buddies, or I can talk about like um, Rachel did something that really bothered me and I want to talk to her about it. I would be like, hey, this has been bothering me for a while. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and just come from my heart like that. But that's because I have a lot of my foundation is very strong in communication and communicating. So find a way that you can truly express yourself and practice through that. So like Sophie, if you love writing, write everything that you want to say and just get it on paper. You can read it, you can say it, but just first get it out of here, and just clear this out. Oh, Sophie is just an example, but like um you know yeah.
Okay, so because you've emphasized communication so much, I'm just going to frame another question around it. So you've basically said maybe how we can make it easier for ourselves to get it out. How do you make yourself, how do you, let's say you don't want to, or let's say you have someone where you find it, like you're good at communicating with most people, like everyone can agree that at least with someone, maybe their best friend, maybe their dog, whatever, their buddy, their parents, they can communicate to someone at a certain extent. And so what if with that other certain person it becomes difficult? This person is just hard to talk to. They don't understand what you're saying. They take things the wrong way. And it's not in your hands to have that good communication. What can you do?
um it's depends on I have to
It's a hard
kind
question.
of
I
no,
get
no,
it's a hard one.
it's not a hard question. It's what you said, how it's not in their hand, like it's not in your hand for the communication, because it is. So let's say somebody
Oh, trick
is
question.
really like, let's say somebody's like really like, oh, I didn't say that. What are you talking about? Oh, blah 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 blah. Then you pull them aside and you be like, hey, come here, listen. I want to have a mature conversation with you. I just want you to hear me out. Just please don't jump in. Any questions you have, just hold it in your mind, and I just want to talk. I just want to say what needs to be said. And they'd be like, if you truly respect me and if you truly appreciate me, you would let me say this, blah blah blah, and then you could just talk. Because I mean, um, this is perfect. So
Right?
all right, let's say, Sergio, for your question, if if the person that you want to communicate with is really bad at communicating, like you can't even talk to this person about something personal. If it's important, I have an example for that. All right, Sergio, your dream is to become a public speaker and life coach. If you're you just got a speaking gig to speak in a school in front of 300 kids. However, you are so scared to talk to those kids. However, you can either step back into safety or you can step into growth, you know? And if you can step back into safety, and then you would lose your opportunity to become a speaker and all your dreams, everything. And that's the same example for the relationship. Let's say you're in a relationship, because if you don't communicate with that person, you could lose everything, and then you're just gonna let fear stop you. Like you're just gonna let fear go on, like, oh hey fear, and then just like with fear, because like this is gonna come and stop you either with your dream of public speaking or in the relationship. So that's where courage comes in. You know, if somebody sucks at communicating, you know, there's a way to come around it. And if you've tried everything and there's no way, what else can you do? You can't control the other guy or person, girl, whatever, dog, you know.
Dog. So then you just move on, right?
Yeah,
I think we might actually have another question. Okay, yeah, we do. From Ariana. Yeah, let's push 2 hours for sure. We still have some viewers. You guys are committed to being on here. Once I see that it's at 0 viewers, it'll still be recorded, so whatever. We got half an hour-ish left. Sure, we can make it happen. So, Ariana said, Omid, why is it that some people get into relationships but others can't? Like, I've never been in a relationship before. Is it because of the communication, or I don't know if I worded that correctly, but hopefully you get the question. So,
All right, Ariana. When you say,
maybe you can speak to how do you create a relationship if you are currently not in one or never been in one, because a lot of what you've spoken to is being in one and making it outstanding and amazing, having good communication, all the different 7 things. Maybe you can speak to how do you create one if you're not in one, or maybe you don't want to be in one, you never have been in one, you can't seem to find someone. How do you create one? Maybe you can expand to all those different topics.
when I was when I was a when I was in high school, I had my first girlfriend at my sophomore year, and she was in 8th grade in middle school. And it was my first kiss, my first official girlfriend, and I wanted a girlfriend really bad. So like that was my focus. You know, it wasn't my standard. It wasn't really awesome. It was awesome, I guess, for me. I was like, oh, it was the coolest thing ever. And I guess it's like I was overly affectionate, overly all this stuff. Like my relationship lasted a week. You like that was
It sounded like.
and then my next relationship after that lasted a month, and then the girl I was with cheated on me, and she cheated on me, and like I don't fully like I had a conversation with my uncle, and my uncle told me it was my fault. So I sat for a while and I thought about it, and I was like, dirty sight, by the way, Haryana. So I sat and I thought about it, and I was like, okay, this is my fault, because like I looked back on it and I was like, I was putting way too many commitments on her. I was like, we were a month in and I was talking about like marriage, and then I was like going crazy. It was my first like girlfriend, and like I lost my virginity to her, all this stuff, blah blah blah, and it was just like really deep stuff. And then I thought back to myself and I was like, damn, you know, like I don't even have like love for myself. And a lot of people go looking for a relationship to fill something that they don't have, which is just goes back to the cup. You cannot give what you don't have. So, that's like a lot of people are like, I need to be in a relationship. I can't be single. Ariana, you know, everybody, we all know that one person that has to be in a relationship. So, you just constantly what? You just constantly gotta like fill that void that you have inside of you, not you, but like people, and then they go in a relationship and the relationship fails. And that's because they're not ready for a relationship. So you first have to love yourself first. And then, some people just want to be in a relationship because they see the media, the movies, and like the songs and the cuddling with Netflix and all that jazz. But then again, that all comes down to is, like, do you want one? And if yes, why? Why do you want one? Because a relationship is not easy work. It's like, it is the most fulfilling part of your life, because it is like, that's quoted from Tony Robbins himself. And I fully agree with him. A relationship is the most fulfilling part of your life, because like if you can master that, if you can like have a really amazing one, your entire life just like shines. So like, why do you want to be in a relationship? Like, once you ask yourself why, is it because you want to fill a void, or is it because you actually genuinely want to love somebody and give to them? Then you will slowly just manifest a relationship into your life. It will happen. You can go looking for a relationship, but you keep getting dead ends, and then eventually it will just happen. Like, I can't really tell it to you, but like an awesome relationship will just happen. Like, with me and Rachel, it just happened. With David and Maria, it just happened. Like, like they just happen to just bump into each other. They just happen to have a lot of things in common, and they just happen to have the same love for each other. It just happens, It's not something that you can force. Yeah, that's my answer to your thing. Is first, you can. Yeah, that's my final answer.
Final answer. All right. So we've got a bunch of little paragraphs. So I'm going to see if I can run through some of these quick. Maybe you can expand on some of it. And I think a lot of it speaks to Ariana's question in different perspectives. So Sophie said, Ariana, I have hardly ever been out of a relationship, and maybe a part of that is because I have a huge need for love and connection, and I find that mostly in strong relationships. But maybe another part of it is that being independent and having needs that are met in other ways, that you don't necessarily need a relationship, but that the relationship is the only tool to build and fulfill these needs in a better and stronger way. So that's interesting. And then Nick said, hey Ariana, you're not alone. I've also never been truthfully in a physically intimate, real relationship either, so I know where you're coming from. It's not that you can't, it's how you frame your experience of the world and how you frame the world around you. So it comes down to what is your focus, what is your outcome, what is your purpose? What do you want, and why do you want it? And then Sophie said, thanks everyone for the great comments and posts. Absolutely love and needed this. And then she said, it's not a have to, it's more of you enjoy what you get out of it, but after years, eventually you grow apart. At least that's been the pattern for myself. So maybe actually you can speak to that last thing, because that right there, let me see, what did she say?
Wait, two things. Wait, before you say again, Sophie, I'm really glad that this is exactly what you needed. I'm glad that out of however many people watch this, at least one person took, something that could help change your life. Because
Well, a bunch of people said that actually.
oh,
Just
really?
a bunch
Awesome.
of us. Yeah, man. Jeff was like, that distinction was amazing. Nick was like, you handled that. Where did he say it? A bunch of people have got a lot out of it. So,
Oh,
and for the
sweet.
people who are, if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, not live, and you make it to here, hopefully Omid helped change your life. And
Yeah,
so I honor you guys for
it,
making it to an hour 45.
it feels really good knowing that you guys took home stuff and that you can actually apply it. And if you do apply it, you will see results. If you do not apply it, that's on you. And then something else, this is going on Ariana's question. Ariana's my little sister, and I'm a big brother, so Ariana, no relationship for you. Kidding, not kidding. All right, just continue with what you're saying.
So Jeff just said she didn't cheat on you, she cheated on your expectation. That's kind of an interesting thing. You in
Wait,
high school you wouldn't have seen it that way. But
oh, wait, she didn't cheat on me. She cheated on my expectation.
that's what Jeff said, yeah. And so we can speak to Sophie's thing because now really we'll wrap it up. And this is the final 15-minute mark before we hit 2 hours. It's 1:45 in the morning for you over there. We're gonna cut this off at 2 a.m. And in
Okay.
Fiji it's 4 a.m. So it's hectic. So Sophie said it's not a have to. It's more of you enjoy what you get out of it. But after years, eventually you grow apart. At least that's been the pattern for myself. So I'm sure
Oh,
you have a lot to say
perfect.
to that.
All right,
Well,
Sophie.
well, I'm not even gonna frame the question. You got it. Give her
I
handle it.
you said that that's what happens to you is that over the years you tend to grow apart. Um, my suggestion, my recommendation is to have a meeting with yourself. Look at your past relationships, see how it went down, and don't be biased. Don't blame your don't just say, oh, it was there, them. Look at what you gave. Look at what happened with you, and just find out what happened because you know there are relationships that last 20 years. Sergio, how long have your parents been together for?
Pushing 25 now.
25 years, and they're
20.
madly in love. Like they're madly in love still, and they're not growing apart at all. And there's something different that they're doing than what you were doing or are doing. It's just like I'm pretty sure that they've spoken about whatever it is that they grow apart. So like if you do notice you're growing apart from your partner, this is definitely something that you want to just bring up. So a little personal story is my uncle and his wife, they're growing apart from each other, and um, it's because like they have different values, beliefs, stuff like that. However, both of them knowing that, um, they still like putting in the effort to like recreate it, which then comes back to falling in love with that person again. So let's say you and your partner were to grow back together. I mean, grow apart from each other, right? So you guys are two completely different souls. You guys are no longer twin flames. You're just souls,
Oh
two
my
different
God.
souls. What you do is you want to merge yourself into that fire again. So you want to fall back in love. So like just be like, all right, I want to take you out on dates. Just and uh, reframe it in your mind. So if you've been dating for 5 years, don't look at it like you've been dating for 5 years. Look at it as if you just started dating. Make it brand new, a new experience, and then you grow off of that, and that really helps you fall in love with that person again.
Awesome.
Because like, if you're dating with somebody for if like I was with this person for 5 years, I know everything about them, and then if something were to happen, and then you're like, all right, this is our first date together, whatever, whatever, however you want to do it, and then you go, hey, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? What are your favorite movies? And you just fall in love again. Do what you did before. Success leaves clues.
Boom. So we've got two things. We've actually got a comment on YouTube, but before that, Sophie said, let's schedule a Skype session after you get some sleep, of course. Lots more to talk about.
All
And we
right,
got a comment on YouTube from Jasmine. Omid even
Jasmine, who?
changed his mother's life. Thank you, son.
Oh, my mom. Hey.
Hey! Hey! So, let me see. Um, Ariane just put a bunch of arrows, so I guess she liked Sophie's thing, so you can schedule a Skype session. I'm sure Omid is a life and success coach, and success, like he said, leaves clues, and so it's not just success in finances or health or physical body or whatever. In relationships, the strategy to success is the same. And so, if any of you want an outstanding relationship coach or success coach in any area, definitely hit Omid up. This guy's the man. I'm telling you, he walks his talk. He's living proof that you can make your relationship outstanding. And if you've made it to here at an hour 50, we know something about you. We know that you're committed to making your life amazing. And so everyone who's ever done anything incredible has had a coach. And so you don't have to choose Omid, you don't have to choose me, but find someone to role model, to model after, because if you do what successful people have done, you'll get their results, right?
Yep.
So I don't know if you
Also,
want to. Okay, yeah, we got
there
10
there
minutes. Give it.
There's a quote that this quote is my life quote. This is my, I don't know if it's like dogma, whatever that word is. No, it's like my,
No, no, that's like
it's my mantra. This,
your
this
mantra
quote is
there.
my mantra. This quote is my everything. It's as long as I am committed, there is always a way. And I'm actually getting that quote tattooed on me soon. I set a benchmark in this company I'm in, and once I hit that, I'm getting this quote tattooed. And this quote is just like everything. And like in a relationship, I fully believe, like I've had many doubts in my relationship, doubts that I put on myself that could have potentially ended my relationship in the beginning. However, I told myself, I'm committed, I'm committed, I'm committed, I'm committed. There is always a way. It might not be now, it might not be in this year, it might not be next year, could be 5 years, but there is always a way. And I fully believe that 150%, that's like my mantra right there. As long as I'm committed, there's always a way.
That's
And like
awesome.
that's, yep.
Yep. We're at 66 comments. You guys rock. That's number 66. Omid, you're the man.
Who wrote that?
Your sister. But a bunch of people, Nick, somewhere in this 60, I don't know. Oh, view previous. Oh, okay, that's why I wasn't seeing them all. Nick said, hold on. Where is it? Said something like you totally handled that. You answered all my questions, much wisdom. And then Jeff said something along the lines of amazing distinction. Handled Sophie. So you've handled a bunch of different awesome variety of questions, and thank you all for your questions because it's all of your it's these 66 comments that made it last 2 hours, or else we would have been done in like 15 minutes. So you guys are awesome for keeping it going. Ooh, one more. Is this a question? Yeah, it is from Nick. This guy's committed. How do you apply all of these tools in a relationship with your family, like your parents?
Oh.
Because it can be difficult to communicate certain ideas, beliefs, and values with at times with them. And yeah, so the focus has kind of been on intimate relationships, but these principles, the 7 things that we
Yeah.
talked about before, you can rewatch this and think about how they apply to your friends, your family, all different kinds of things. Your dog,
I
if you're not present with your dog, he's not gonna be
I
happy.
will post the 7 steps of a successful relationship and the 7 laws of a successful relationship in the comments section. And that those are just principles. They're not for intimate relationships only. That's what I was touching up on. But you can have heartfelt understanding with your mom. You can be aligned with your mom. You can have courage and honesty with your mom. You can what were the other ones? You can have presence with your mom. I had presence with my mom.
You
You
have
know,
present
like
with everyone.
they are just certain baseline principles. And the big guy Tony supplied those. So thank you, Tony Robbins. Robbins.
So maybe we can touch on the last one because I don't think we hit that. We hit.
Nope, not yet.
Okay, so
The
maybe
last one is
go through all of them and then we'll touch on the last one. Just a quick reminder, recap.
all right. First skill is heartfelt understanding. Second
Amazing.
skill is giving what a person really needs.
Yep.
Third skill is creating and building trust and respect.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth skill is to reclaim your playfulness, presence, and passion.
Uh-huh.
Fifth skill is harnessing courage and embracing honesty.
Yep.
The sixth skill is uncovering and creating alignment.
Okay.
And
Number
the
7.
seventh and final skill is to live consciously and to be the example you want in your partner and what you see in the world.
Oh my gosh, and you've only got 7 minutes to expand on that, so let's hear it.
Instead of living your past, create your present and future. Find the higher meaning and grow from anything. Use whatever happens for the greater good.
That's awesome. So hold on, what was number 7 again, real quick? I'm gonna frame a question around it.
Live consciously and be the example you want in your partner and what you want to see in the world.
Oh, that's so powerful. Okay. All right. So hold on. What was be the example you want?
All right.
So here's the distinction, and maybe you can expand on it. So for the longest time, people look for people that they look for like projects, and like I'm not picking on you, but especially girls look for guys that are fixer uppers so they can like make them their projects and fix them. And I'm sure guys do that too, but one of the biggest distinctions I've learned through my coaching, because every coach has a coach. If you're ever going to go hire a coach, ask them who their coach is, and that's so powerful. And so I had a huge distinction that you have to focus on becoming the person who will attract the person that you want to be with. So it's not about attracting. Wow, mind equals blown, right?
No, no, no. Like I have something I'm dying to say now.
Awesome. So, well, yeah, that's the whole point. I say this so that you can expand on it. So, you don't want to basically look for someone who's amazing. You want to focus on becoming the person who will attract the person you're looking for. Go.
All right. I learned I recently came back from an NLP seminar, and 7-day NLP seminar, and this is the most profound thing I have learned the entire time. It is called the law of correspondence. And it is a goal setting technique I learned through NLP, and it's so powerful. But I'm going to share one part of it with you. And anybody who's watching this is absolutely amazing. Blew my mind. I learned this from one of my other really close friends, Luis, and this is what it is. Whatever you ask for, you must be. Or whatever you're becoming, you can ask for. It can work vice versa. I prefer ask be. So, if I were to draw a box that said ask, and then draw an arrow that's like up and then down and B. So, whatever you are asking for, you must be that person in order to obtain what you're asking for. So, if I'm asking for $1 million, I cannot get $1 million unless I'm being the person that can get $1 million. And let's say that this is the example my NLP teacher used. Let's say that God, or just for sake of our argument and stuff, he's sitting in the clouds, and you just faxed off to him. You said, I want $1 million. And then God goes, okay, Omid, I will give you $1 million. And he goes, he's about to Shazam you $1 million. And he goes, shh. And you go, oh, wait a minute. You're not being that person that makes $1 million. So he kind of gives you, he gives you opportunities in order to become that person. Either universe, whatever. I'm just using God as an example. He has a nice beard and stuff. So, you get opportunities, and if you are avoiding the opportunities and you're still asking for the $1 million, you will start getting slapped around. You will either get hit by a feather, a brick, or a truck. So, my NLP teacher has this example how he had this client that wanted he wanted change, he wanted to change lives, and he kept saying he had nothing to do with, and then he got hit by a truck. He lost his arm and his leg in a motorcycle accident, and then now he's changing lives with his story, and that's the law of correspondence. And the same thing goes in relationships. If you want an outstanding relationship, you have to be that person that deserves an outstanding relationship. Whatever you ask for, you must be. That's the law of correspondence, and that is definitely what I'm going to end this thing on, because that is powerful stuff. Oh, I just blew my own mind. That's how amazing this was.
Gosh. Awesome. We have 2 minutes to make it 2 full hours. We can't end this at 1:58, so let me see if we have any more questions, comments. I don't think so. I don't even think we have enough time for a full-on question. So maybe you can elaborate on.
I just want to thank everybody for taking time out of your day and giving it to me and Sergio and allowing us to share with you the tools and knowledge that we've accumulated over the years and what has worked for us, and just asking us questions. And I fully appreciate the presence you guys had on this call. Oh, not this call. I'm sorry. This keeping the momentum set. What is it called?
It's a session. It's a momentum session. It's a webinar. It's a live
the momentum session. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, because we're all really busy people, and the fact that you're here really shows that you're committed to taking your life to the next level, and I highly appreciate that and highly respect you for that. Thank you so much, and I thank Sergio for putting these together every single Saturday and being absolutely committed to it. If you guys ever want a success coach, I highly recommend Sergio. His company is Run Your Mission, where he speaks about finding your purpose, your life's purpose, your mission, and he helps you with whatever you need. Sergio is the man. He's turquoise. He's one of my closest friends in this world, and I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for Sergio.
Oh, well, thanks, buddy. And Omid's the man too. And like I said before, you need to get a coach. Omid, I just took the spotlight from you, by the way.
Alright.
You need to get a coach. Whether it's me or Omid or whoever else, find someone. Next week, we've got Katie Pitsis. Hopefully she's still available. I have to reach out to her on authentically maintaining momentum and motivation. And Katie Pitsis is incredible. She's spoken on the GYLS stage. She runs her own workshops and seminars. She's an international speaker, life coach, and founder of Free Spirit Girl. So if you want to get a little insight on what she does for next week, you should check out Free Spirit Girl. She's incredible. She's doing big things. I think we actually might have some more comments, but let me see.
How funny is it? How funny is that? It just hit 3 a.m. here because daylight savings.
3 a.m. Did it?
Yep. Yep.
It just hit 12 here. Is it supposed to be 11? No, it's 12. Oh no, I won't even hit that until like midnight or whatever. That's awesome. Yeah, we hit 2 hours. This session went 2 hours, and there's 5 viewers right now, I think, who are still here. So you guys are incredible for being on here. If anyone in the future, if you make it through all the way to here, if you want to lead a session, let me know. We're booked all the way till mid-January, but we still have the other half of the year before GYLS. The whole purpose, the outcome of these sessions was to keep the momentum going throughout the year, because a lot of people go to GYLS and they go home and then they just go back to their regular patterns, their regular lives, their regular peer group. And so this is to elevate you to stay at that level. So I honor all of you guys for being on here. If you want to lead a session, let me know. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So Omid, last words, and then we can cut it off.
Thanks, guys. I love you all. Remember, communication is a key to unity, and as long as you're committed, there's always a way. Yep, those are my two. Oh, and law correspondence. I'm gonna post a bunch of things on the comment section, so just check that out in like the next 5 minutes. And thank you, everybody. It was awesome sharing with you.
Boom, handled.
Handled.